So hello guys, this is IT Security and Compliance Management course at SAIT. My name is Renato Cunha and I'm going to present to you today about mapping with NMAP. So based on the course plan, we are just here mapping with NMAP, and let's see what we have for today. So the agenda for today is just create a foundation about TCP, IP, and ports. So get to know more about TCP dump, which is a sniffing. I'm not sure how many of you have a chance to play with TCP dump or Wireshark before, but basically they do the same. They sniffer the network and just listen the TCP IP conversation. And then we go to network scanning or mapping with NMAP. So basically for TCP IP ports are the way that the server provides the applications on the network. So basically client server application. Client has the application that connects to a server through a port. Based what the server needs to have on the network is IP and a port. So the port and IP together makes a socket, and then application connects to the socket. So basically have a few examples here. So port 20 TCP is FTP. Port 22 TCP is SSH. Port 23 TCP is Telnet. Port 53 UDP TCP is DNS. Port 80 TCP is HTTP. So basically I have the application that is behind the port and the protocol that uses to transfer the data, TCP or UDP. So before getting into scanning for open ports, you can check on your computer. So how many open ports it has available on the network. So basically go to your computer. You can go to your Windows 7 or Windows 8, whatever you have, Mac, Linux, AnyDo, Netstat. Netstat, you're going to show all the open ports available on your device. So here are a few options that we can try on your network, on your server, on your host, whatever you have. Netstat dash NA dash netstat dash NAE and a few other options. And netstat dash R shows the routes available on the network on the server. Show the routes available on your device. So the next option is basic commands to work on this lab that we have for today's class. Genlist is a command. Actually, is an application on Backtrack, can be found in Backtrack, used to list the live hosts available on the network. Basically, you can do that, use NMAP, but we're going to start using Genlist just to see how many IPs, live IPs you have available on your network. Try that now. Stop this video. Go to your Backtrack. The Backtrack has to be on a real network. Go to the go to the lab and see the diagram, and we're going to explain later on what I'm expecting you to do. So go to Backtrack, make sure that your Backtrack can ping your host computer, and do a Genlist and specify your network range. and you see how many IPs available on your own network. So I'm gonna jump to show you guys what I'm expecting you to do in this lab. So go to page 18 and you see this diagram with 3 segments, and Fedora has a gateway dividing the segments. One side we have LAN and the IP is 10.1 dot question mark dot 0/27. You remember that question mark is just the IP that I can find on my host computer. The other side the same thing. And one side I want you guys to have the client VM. Can be XP, can be Windows 7, can be Windows 2003, 8. And the other side you have our Metasploitable. The Metasploitable is available on the shared folder. And we have there available for you guys to download Metasploitable, Backtrack, and Fedora. So one side your clients, the other side your server, and in the external side you see here 192.168.10.0, but this is the external. This is a real network. It means your network could be different. 192.168.1.0 probably /24. So for Ubuntu Nessus, just forget about this right now, because I was planning to run this lab in the classroom, but since you're doing it home, you don't have this Ubuntu Nessus yet. So basically you have Backtrack available. If you're having issues using Backtrack, go to the internet and download Backtrack VM and try to go from that. But if you don't have any issues with Backtrack, use the Backtrack that I'm putting available for you guys. So let's go back to our command. So TCP dump. TCP dump is a network analysis tool used for scanning the network. When I say scanning the network, it's just listening all the traffic between the devices and all the traffic that is passing through the interface. Is very useful and does the same thing as Wireshark. Listen all the connections and show all the connections. So I'm gonna use TCP dump to scan what's going on the network on Fedora. But let's try to listen what we have on our own network. Go to Backtrack. Remember, Backtrack is available on the real network. And do TCP dump -n-i Ethernet 0. Just replace 0 for the other number that you have for the main interface, the external interface, and start doing this. So -n, it means don't resolve host names. I'm gonna show up only IP addresses. So if you want to know about the host names, take time. TCP dump has to resolve every single connection, every single IP that show up during the scanning. So do that. Stop the video right now and go to your Backtrack that is on the real network and do TCP dump -n-i and specify the interface. And from your Backtrack, execute those 8 commands as well. So as I said, your Backtrack has to be on the real network. The other place that you can test TCP dump is on Fedora. And I want you guys to stop this video, go to Backtrack, and trying those 8 commands, just replacing the networks and see what you're gonna get. As well, do the same on Fedora, just replacing the interface, just replacing the IPs, and just to get to know more about TCP dumping, just to get to know more about your network. So network scanning, the first activity that you use NMAP is for port scanning. You scan your network and find about the IPs available and the open ports available. So once you have that, you know about what services we have behind those open ports. So I'm gonna get more information about your target. The first activity is to get to know more about your target, and basically we are reducing the scope amount of IPs that you're gonna scan and you're gonna try to attack. That's the first step for vulnerability assessment or penetration testing. So information gathering. Using NMAP, you can scan a list of targets and to determine live hosts, open ports, available services, and as well NMAP is the most popular scanning available. So with NMAP, we can enumerate open ports, means knowing the services behind that. Show if the system is alive, show status of the port, if it's open, if it's filtered, if it's closed. Describes the type of services offered on those ports. Shows OS information. And you can run NMAP on Linux, or basically Unix-based system, as well Windows and system. And if you want to get to know more about NMAP, go to www.insecure.org, and they have as well a GUI available there, so called ZenMap. But since we are trying to explore more about the command prompting and to know more about what's happening behind the GUI, I recommend you to use the command prompting to do that. When you're comfortable with that, go to GUI and it'll be easier for you guys. So based on the states of the ports, can be open, can be closed, can be filtered, can be unfiltered, can be open filtered, can be closed filtering. So NMAP is able to provide those kind of information based on the TCP communication. So NMAP sends a command, a package to the destination host, and once the response is sent back to the NMAP target or attacker, and you see if the port is open, the port is closed, filtered by any firewall or anything around, but anything related to this kind of thing, like packet filtering or anything around that. So if you want to start NMAP using Backtrack, go to Backtrack. Remember, once you start Backtrack by default starts using the terminal. The terminal has only command prompting. If you want to start the GUI, just type start X, and you see the GUI starting up, and you see all the fancy GUI on Backtrack. So once you start Backtrack, the GUI mode, applications, go to application, Backtrack, information gathering, network analysis, and then NMAP. The other option here is, you see NMAP and ZenMap. ZenMap is the GUI. You can start ZenMap just to know that. but I recommend you to use NMAP. Once you start NMAP, see a new terminal open, show me a few examples, and then you're able to start scanning your stuff. So the syntax is NMAP scan type. You see dash S, capital S, dash O, a few options. And a few options if is your list of target is coming from a file, if you have a range of IPs you want to exclude, something like this. Those are the options. And then the list of target can be from a file with list of IPs, or you can specify the IPs on the syntax. So the first option is information gathering. So I want you guys to open Backtrack and Fedora, and I want you guys to play with those comments on Backtrack and Fedora. First, let's try all the commands that we see right here in Fedora. Open a terminal, go to, or can start the application, Backtrack, information gathering, or just start in the terminal and type nmap. So the first option that I want you to try is -s capital S, which is TCP/IP scene. If you see the previous PDF about TCP/IP review, you see the TCP handshake, and the C is the first communication that the client tries to establish with the server, and the scene, this option -s capital S is lighter, so the full TCP connection is not established, and then you can try to avoid detection by IDS, intrusion detection system, or other tools that can alert that you're trying to scan the network. So try that now. So go to Backtrack, do nmap space -s capital S space and your network. Could be 192.168.1.0/24 or whatever you have for your network. So once you do this, I want you to do on your real network as well on your environment that I showed you before. So try to scan the LAN and the DMZ and see what we have. So the result from this scan is going to show up the open ports, TCP ports, and some information about the target host. So the next option is -s capital T, do a full connect TCP communication, TCP conversation, and could be detected by IDS, for example. Try that too. -s capital U for UDP ports, -s capital P, it'll be the same as gen list, the command that the tool that I showed you before, gen list. So basically we're going to do is the ping sweep. So when you do a ping sweeping on your network, you're going to find out how many live hosts you have available on your network. So if you do -s capital P, you're going to find how many live hosts. So capital -s, sorry, dash capital P0, don't ping, performance scan, even the target does not respond to ping. Dash capital T, specify the timing, higher is faster. So basically the default is -T5, try that now. And the other option is specifying the range of ports that you want to scan. Could be from 80 to 180, for example. And it could be specifying targeting only one port, like port 80, port 8080, something like this. So actually the next step of in the information gathering, the port scanning stuff, is to get to know more about the services that are behind the open ports. For example, dash S capital V shows the services and the versioning behind that are using the open ports. Dash capital O, OS fingerprinting. So NMAP, based on the TCP IP communication made with the target computers, you're gonna guess which OS is running on the target side. Try that now. Do a scan on your network and see how many OSs are available on your network and see how accurate NMAP could be. So back to the lab. As I said, I want you to have your backtrack on your real network, the same network as a host computer. Forget about Ubuntu Nessus. Fedora has to have a connection on your real network as well, two different network isolated with the host only option. And Fedora has an interface connected to 10.1. Choose one network, for example 10.1, and that mask is /27, and the client's gateway is this interface as well. Metasploitable gateway is this interface, this Fedora's interface. Remember to check if the IP forwarding thing is set to 1. So remember that. Go to /etc/sysctl.conf and check for IP forward option. Once you finish setting up your environment, go to lab 2, and I want you guys to follow this order. So the first command will be ping sweeping. So how many live IPs we have on the network? 2, do a TCP scan, just light scan. 3, do a full TCP scan, it's a heavy scan. Do a UDP scan. Just follow the examples. Not gonna have any issues. Just replacing the IPs based on what we have. Do first with your real network, and after do on your environment. From this, I want to scan those two environments. Once you finish lab 2, I want you guys to do service enumeration. I want you to test -s capital V and see how many services we have available and show what kind of services, the version available on those services. And to finish this lab, just go and try OS fingerprinting. So we need to find out the following information: what operating system they are running, what services that are running on the open ports, and which version for each service found. So if you had an issue, if you want to contact me, just send me an email. I'll be happy to try to help you. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And it's very simple environment, and I'm pretty sure that you're gonna do this. You guys are gonna do this because we did it in the classroom, and we have basically the VMs available. accept the client. They're not gonna provide any Windows VMs because I don't have a license for that. But you guys have to find a way to get those VMs. So I hope you guys enjoy it. So again, this is Renato talking about NMAP. So enjoy the video and bye bye.